I believe he supports me in what I just told you. Is that right, Stefan?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Scott, is there anything you'd like to say before I pronounce sentence?
I just would like to say I'm sorry. I've been trying to change. I haven't been able to go back to church, and I think that I just been every night I think about this. It's always on my mind. I know the pain that I caused. I just want to make it right, and I'm so sorry.
So if you think the 24 days in jail for the Lebanon Municipal Court case got your attention, I think I'm going to get it now.
One conviction should be enough to change someone's life. But in Judge Tepe's courtroom, prosecutors say this defendant kept committing the same crime again and again, even while this case was still pending. That's why they argue prison is the only answer. The defense tells a very different story. They say jail changed him. He's working, paying child support, rebuilding his faith, and truly wants to be a better father. The defendant apologizes, saying he thinks about his mistakes every day and just wants another chance. It sounds sincere, but Judge Tepe has already read the pre-sentence report and it's clear he's not convinced yet. The questions he asks next completely shift the direction of the hearing.
The court has considered anything else. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I don't want to continue to live a life of sin. I'm better than that. I know I am. I haven't seen my son in 4 months, but the consequences of my actions, I just want to make things right and be there for my son, and I just don't want to let any more people down.
The court has considered the statements made here today, the pre-sentence investigation, the purposes and the principles of sentencing, the relevant seriousness and recidivism factors. Mr. Scott, I read the statement that you gave during your pre-sentence investigation. Do you want to explain that to me?
I'm sorry, sir.
The written statement that you provided to court services during your pre-sentence investigation. I want you to reconcile that, what you said in that statement, to me to what you're saying now.
Yes, sir. I have a bad case of eczema. I'm not blaming it on eczema. It was my actions. I took the food and I immediately left. I was embarrassed. My face was plastered all over Facebook and Instagram.
Again, I don't understand what the eczema has that you've been caught. I just wonder how many times that you've done it and the person was too embarrassed to even come forward to. The person that you claim to be now standing before me, you need to reconcile that to me because right now my mind's going, well, this is the fourth time you've been caught. I'm guessing you've done it, people that drive drunk and get caught, and that's not the first time they did it. It's the first time they get caught. People stealing. It's never, you don't get caught every time you do something. So you try to reconcile with what the person that you're trying to represent to me today, reconcile that with the person that is in this report.
I'm trying to understand, like, what are you trying to...
Well, you're trying to represent yourself that, that, hey, it's a wake-up call for me.
Okay, I understand.
I got the message, Judge. This will never happen again. That's pretty hard to believe.
If this case already has you hooked, you're in the right place. Like and subscribe to Court with Mia. I cover the most epic, jaw-dropping court cases you won't believe are real.
No, sir, I understand what you're saying, sir.
Okay, now I'm going to give...
I don't go to jail like that. I don't go to jail at all. When I got locked up for those 24 days, I've seen so many things. I was already a believer, but when I went into jail, the people that surrounded me with, the people that I seen in church, the famous people that came and talked to us, gave me cards and little things that I could take with me on the outside to keep it together when I'm on the outside. So while I was in there, I formed prayer groups every night. It took a while to do that, but I feel like that was a calling. I feel like that the Lord put me in there to wake me up. That was my wake-up call. He was with me the entire time I was in there. People around me even felt it, and I was trying to, everything we did after we ate or before we ate and before we went to bed, we prayed. I'm focused on God. My wake-up call is God. Lord, I don't want to live a life of sin anymore, going down a path of nowhere. I know I'm better than that. I know what my calling is. I feel His presence, and this isn't, I've always been a believer, but I feel like He's put me in that position to where I can only turn to Him.
Have you ever undergone any type of counseling?
When I was in school as a kid with ADHD, but that's about it. I was talking to the therapist in probation, not a therapist, but the woman who does the packet with me. She's told me about people and solutions that I said I was interested in, because she recommended me to do counseling, and I thought that was a good idea.
And you've engaged in that counseling?
I'm sorry. Yes, online, yes, but I didn't have a job because I didn't have work release, so I'd have to pay for it. But I did do 4 classes. online. I talked to people at Talbot House. They said they're willing to take me after my situation.
This has been now almost 6 years since your first conviction. You had one in 2019, one in 2023, and then one since this case started. You got another conviction for the same type of behavior. Why wasn't counseling something that you sought? If you know you have a mental health problem, again, whether that's it is a recognized under the DSM-5 mental health disorder, but why wasn't counseling sought earlier?
After being challenged, the defendant leans heavily into what he says was a life-changing experience behind bars. He explains that jail wasn't just punishment, it became a spiritual turning point. He talks about leading prayer groups, reconnecting with his faith, and realizing he never wanted to return to that lifestyle again. He also tells Judge Tepe that conversations with probation opened his eyes to possible unresolved trauma, saying he finally understood that some behaviors he thought were normal might actually need professional help. Judge Tepe doesn't dismiss counseling at all. Instead, he asks a simple question that becomes hard to ignore. If these problems have existed for years, why wasn't help sought after the first conviction or the second? When the defendant suggests house arrest prevented him from attending treatment, the judge quickly points out that counseling appointments could have been approved with a simple request. That moment weakens the explanation considerably. To me, Judge Tepe isn't looking for perfection, he's looking for consistent effort, and he's struggling to see it. Then the prosecution adds one final detail that makes the decision seem even clearer.
Yeah, Mr. Scott, there's nothing that you have said today that convinces me, and again, whether this, I'm not going to get into a discussion as to whether this is a mental health disorder or not. The DSM certainly recognizes it as such, but I don't think you've gotten the message. I mean, you and again, I keep, my mind keeps going back to, and again, the two prior convictions and then getting a conviction while this case was pending. I cannot imagine for the life of me knowing that you're under indictment on a felony charge for this offense, going out and doing the same thing. I mean, that just completely blows my mind. I'm going to make a finding today, sir, based upon the information I have, that you are not amenable to community control and that prison is now necessary to fulfill the purposes and principles of sentencing, primarily punishment and deterrence. So if you think the 24 days in jail for the Lebanon Municipal Court case got your attention, I think I'm going to get it now. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to order you to serve 10 months in prison. The reason I'm not ordering you to serve 12 months, the maximum, is because you did enter a plea and did not make this young lady go through the trauma of having to relive that whole thing in front of 12 strangers. So you're going to serve 10 months in prison. You get credit for the 4 days you served on this case. Even though you served 24 days in jail, the 20 of those days are going to be credited to your Lebanon Municipal Court case. Now, the court does make a finding that the prison is necessary based upon the extensive prior history of this particular offense. Obviously, you haven't responded to any type of sanctions that the court has imposed previously, and that you just continue to engage in the same type of behavior. So that will be the court's finding. You're also subject to a discretionary period of post-release control, which means on your release from prison, the Adult Parole Authority may supervise you for up to 2 years. If you violate those terms of supervision, the Adult Parole Authority can return you to prison for up to 1/2 of this court's original sentence. If your violation is that you commit another felony, you can be returned to prison for 1 year or the period that you have left on post-release control, whichever is longer, and that time would run consecutive to any additional prison time that you get sentenced to. The court does find that you are indigent for the purpose of any fines, costs, or other financial sanctions. Now, there may be opportunities for you to receive up to 1 day per month for participating in any programs that are sponsored by the Department of Corrections. Finally, you have a right to appeal the court's decision if you're sentenced to the 12th District Court of Appeals. If you want to appeal, you must file your notice of appeal within 30 days of today's date. If you can't afford to pay for the transcript or anything necessary for your appeal, that can all be provided to you at no cost. If you cannot afford an attorney, I will provide, or the court will provide one to you at no cost. Ms. Nicholson, is there anything else?
You waived the fines and costs?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Mr. Ernst?
No, Your Honor.
All right, this time, Mr. Scott, your bond is revoked. You are now remanded into the custody of the Warren County Sheriff's Office for transport to the Department of Corrections. This time, there's a couple of deputies standing behind you. They're going to take you into custody. That's all.
Otro Judge Tepe didn't ignore the apology. He simply weighed it against years of repeated behavior and decided the actions carried more weight than the words. Based on everything presented in court, I support Judge Tepe's reasoning here. Do you think the 10-month sentence was fair, or should he have been given one final chance? Let us know in the comments. That's a wrap on another epic case, and honestly, I have so many more where that came from. Drop a comment and tell me what you thought, and make sure you're subscribed to Court with Mia so you never miss the next one. See you there.